been collaborating with Luis for quite some time, for almost 10 years. This is kind of a improvised presentation, so bear with me a minute. I took some notes on what we've been doing in the last 10 years and what's the value of the value creation wheel for my area of business. So I've been working in space, in the space sector since 2006. Until 2 years ago, I was working at the company Deimos, working on the software solutions for use of mainly Earth observation assets in commercialization and in institutional setting. So after that, I've moved to CEiiA. I'll talk about that in a minute. To work in another area of satellites as well. So mainly what are Earth observation satellites are satellites that look at the Earth and try to extract visual or out of the visual spectrum quantities that can help us to understand what's going on the Earth's surface. So examples of applications would be for optical cameras, for example, to look at crops, extended crops especially, and you can look at quite wide areas and understand where diseases are forming or where water is or irrigation is needed. You can monitor ships, for example. There's a very success case, one of the highest success cases that was created by the European Maritime Safety Agency, which is identifying oil spills and what were the ships that made the oil spills. Lots of times they used to wash the oil containers offshore, and that's not allowed, so that's forbidden. So they identified lots of cases like that. So there are a lot of cases, especially in extended systems where it's very difficult for people to go there. That's the highest potential use of Earth observation. It's a sector that has been very much a technology push sector, meaning that it's institutions and the European Commission in Europe that have pushed for this technology to be developed. The adoption has come later on. So some public institutions have adopted the technology, and the commercial sector has been slowly adopting the technology and actually contributing, even with its own new technology in the past, let's say, 5 to 7 years. This is what's called the new space, where the costs have been reduced a lot, and now the private sector has already the means to use these assets and to create new assets. The company I worked for before launched 2 satellites. The one that I'm working for now, we're launching a new constellation. So the sector has evolved quite a lot in the last 10 years. We did at Deimos, we did several projects. So the main goals that we had for these projects are both on the management side. An engineering company has lots of management needs, many of which it doesn't even can identify. So it's been very helpful to work with the Nova SP and with which on identifying some of the solutions for problems that we've had internally. And the other is on marketing, communication, and commercialization of products. So the sector, as I said, has been a lot of technology push, meaning that you have solutions for problems which you are not aware of. So the goal has been to look for the solution. So examples have been, for example, streamlining the recruitment process. So we've used the VCW for improving the recruitment process inside. This was done after, let's say, in the 2010s, where recruitment of IT people was very, very difficult in Portugal. I think European-wide or even worldwide, but especially in Portugal, because there are a lot of nearshoring companies that came up. So this was a problem that really needed being addressed. The other one was the change of offices related to, so this was a solution that we had related to the employee satisfaction, so closely related to that. So that was a focus area that we had in 2015 to 2020. And so that the new offices that came out of that was a really good improvement for that came out of the VCW. For example, The other one was creating a new innovation ecosystem, and lots of this innovation ecosystem was what happened afterwards in collaboration with Nova, and not only, and with other projects that we created. So in terms of marketing, communication, commercialization, we had, for example, a very interesting project. We had a project called XGeos, and it was a very wide scope project for creation of facilitation of access to space assets, to space data. And we had a lot of difficulty trying to create a focused message for that. And that was done with the VCW, and actually with Sarah, that is over there. She was leading the activity. And that was a very, very successful message that came through. We had a lot of filters you wouldn't even imagine, like trying not to disturb too many institutions, because it's a very institutional project, and there are lots of things going on in the background that you have to take into account. So the other one, smart farming. So how do you expand the techniques, or how do you apply techniques of smart farming from satellites? This was an area that was growing at the time. It was very incipient. Now it's quite a big area in Earth observation, but we focused on trying to maximize the results of the assets that we were creating. Then on forestry, that was a natural follow-up, and we had a big project on Next Farm with also including Nova at that time, and also fisheries in aquaculture. So the use in fisheries in aquaculture, it's very well known what kind of quantities and what kind of knowledge you can extract. Like, for example, the explosion of algae blooms, the places to where it's more likely to find fish, and so on. The main difficulties are related with the type of actors that are in this sector. They're very conservative. Fishermen are typically very, very conservative, and they're focused on results, let's say, and they're very attached to traditional methods. We had the first project with Richard that was on the use of a very innovative technology, which was by GNSSR, so reflectometry of GNSS signals, to identify, in that case, to identify road conditions. And that was the outcome of the project, and we followed up with the project on that. And then new clients for aerospace and also ground stations. So the ground stations was something we were commercializing at the time, and we were looking for users for ground stations. I'd say that was not the best case, because then there was let's say a change in the market, and the ground stations became dominated by Amazon, actually. So this is the let's say the spectrum of users that we've had for VCW. And I'd say that there was someone speaking on Friday regarding the use of frameworks, and didn't like the use of frameworks. That's because you're not in engineering. Because in engineering, you basically have to use frameworks for everything. I mean, you can then go out of the frameworks, but you need to use them. And especially, and if you know how engineers manage companies, you'd see that they do need frameworks, and especially managing frameworks. And that's because engineers are very smart, and each one has their own way of thinking of things. So there's no way of understanding each other. Having a framework and having a well-defined question, a well-defined method, although quite a broad spectrum method, like the VCW, gives you the freedom of collecting a lot of inputs, because inputs don't only come from the administration or the management. They come from all the company, which typically has a very high level of literacy, and they can provide a lot of inputs. So that's a huge advantage in an engineering company. But then you have a way of managing the whole process that leads to results. And that's the other thing that the VCW gives to an engineering company, which is focus. And focus is something that doesn't happen in Europe. European engineering companies, the US is completely different, but it doesn't happen, especially because most of the funding, or many of the funding sources, are tech push. So meaning you evolve the technology, and then you find the problem. So I think the VCW has been very, very helpful on that, not only with the management and commercial vision, but also with the focus and the ability to integrate a lot of inputs from different companies, or from different stakeholders in the company. So what we're now, I'll go a little bit to what we're doing now. So I moved with a few of the people from Deimos to a project at CEiiA, which is an engineering center based in Porto, but we have the team here, and we moved because there's a huge opportunity now for creating a new asset. So there's a big project that led by CEiiA on creating the new constellation of very high resolution satellites. We created an ecosystem of a company that manages the satellites and does the operation, and a new company that is building the new satellites, and also the application, the software for that, which I'm leading on that side. And there we will have a lot of challenges for VCW. We still have the same kind of challenges, but at a different level. In Europe, the defense sector has now been entering the Earth observation market. For historical reasons, that hasn't been the case, but now it will be. And as you know, the defense is now well, defense will be a big bet in Europe for the next few years, thanks to Trump. So that will be some of the challenges that we have. I was actually now looking at ChatGPT and trying to get some insights on what kind of commercial and defense actors we can use. I was trying to get some filters. The filters, they seem reasonable. Then the ideas are all sort of circular. I mean, you push for the system to give you some new ideas, and it keeps repeating itself, and new challenges keep repeating itself. So the use of, okay, finishing. So just to tell you that the use of the VCW, you shouldn't think that it's going to be replaced by an AI engine, because it's not. You have to be very, very critical about what your goals are, very, very specific of what you want to do, where you want to get. And if you go and follow the advices of what is, let's say, a non-expert like ChatGPT, it will derail you very, very fast. So this is what I think we'll have as a challenge for the future, which is how to integrate positively the tools of AI and in frameworks like VCW to give you focused results.
Can you please now say what you said in 5 minutes?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, where are the Portuguese people on each side? On this side? No. Ok, pronto, estive a falar um bocadinho sobre a minha experiência com o uso da VCW. Trabalhei numa empresa trabalho na área de observação da Terra, satélite, e até há coisa de 2 anos estava a trabalhar numa empresa que era a Deimos, que desenvolvia tecnologia, chegou a criar satélites, a comprar um satélite e a integrar um segundo satélite de observação da Terra. E as dificuldades neste setor, que é muito technology push, ou seja, que a tecnologia é financiada, muitas vezes financiada, ou a maior parte das vezes financiada por setores públicos, setor público, e depois a aplicação e o uso da tecnologia não é óbvio e não é como aparece nos papéis iniciais de motivação, que vai tudo crescer a 150%. Não é verdade, o setor cresce tipicamente a 20%, e o tipo de aplicação, ou o tipo de uso, é tão disperso, é tão grande, que conseguir focar e conseguir encontrar um melhor uso para as tecnologias é bastante complicado, e foi uma coisa que a própria VCW nos deu bastante jeito, em principalmente focar o problema, focar a questão e conseguir descobrir várias soluções que não seriam óbvias de outra forma. E, além disso, conseguir ir buscar inputs de muitas pessoas, muitos engenheiros dentro da própria empresa, que têm conhecimento muito válido e que normalmente não são tomados em conta nestas decisões. Fizemos vários projetos, tanto na parte de gestão, de recursos humanos, de como otimizar recursos humanos, ou otimizar o método de inovação, como na parte tecnológica e na parte principalmente de comercialização e marketing. Projetos de comunicação, de como aplicar determinadas tecnologias, como smart farming, como monitorização de pescas e aquacultura e por aí fora. E depois mudei há cerca de 2 anos para um projeto que é liderado pelo CEiiA, que é onde eu trabalho agora, que é um projeto que está a fazer a nova constelação atlântica de satélites de muito alta resolução, uma empresa que é a Geosat, que faz a gestão dos satélites, a NIO, que faz a integração dos satélites, e a nossa equipa que faz a parte de aplicações e software. E os desafios neste momento continuam a ser tão ou mais ainda importantes, até porque este setor está a crescer muito para o que se chama New Space, ou seja, o setor privado já está numa posição de conseguir encontrar o financiamento, ou seja, o financiamento necessário baixou bastante, cerca de 150 milhões, há coisa de 10 anos seria preciso 10 vezes este financiamento. Portanto, a nossa ideia é ir buscar novos mercados, novas formas de receita para criar ainda mais assets e para conseguir comercializar estes assets, e isso vai ser uma coisa que a própria VCW nos vai dar um foco muito, muito grande. Uma das coisas que eu também mencionei é que uma entidade de engenharia, uma empresa de engenharia, a metodologia e o framework de gestão ou de tomada de decisão é uma coisa muito, muito importante, porque na engenharia toda a gente tem ideias brilhantes e depois decidir e ter o foco é que é normalmente a coisa mais complicada. Portanto, a VCW tem-nos ajudado bastante, tem-nos ajudado a mim em particular e as minhas equipas bastante nessa parte da tomada de decisão e do caminho até lá.
Quantas pessoas envolveu para o levantamento de ideias? Foram as mesmas para o levantamento dos filtros? Como é que foi? Conte-nos um dos seus projetos.
Obrigado. Olha, vou mencionar até o projeto da Sara. So, the question was how many people do we involve in the creation of filters, how the process goes. For example, in the process that Sara, I don't know if you talked about this project on Friday or on Thursday, but this was a project that had 27 partners, a European project called NextGeos. And the goal of the project was to create a data hub for distribution of European assets, data assets, all over Europe. And so these were all European partners. The Commission was funding the project, and it was in the framework of an institution called CEiiA, which is a very, very political institution. In the project, we had commercial entities, so companies and research centers, and also associations and so on. So the very diverse plethora of stakeholders. So what Sara did is first goes to the management structure of the project. So when we have Deimos and a couple of other essential partners, you go there and you try to assess who are the important stakeholders, and then you go to the ones that have been identified by this main structure, so the close to decision-making structure, and assess which are the contributions that you will expect most inputs from and better inputs from. Now, this is very much on a case-by-case basis, because you have to know, even if this institution, for example, has special type of interests that you know are important, maybe that person is not the right person. So this is a very political choice in this kind of environment, but mainly the inputs were from, let's say, at least half of the partners or 1/3 of the partners. But typically you go to the ones that you think are would give you more insights and more let's say more detailed insights and understand what's the picture that you're working with. So in this case, that to do with institutional kind of partners. And then you of course in the management structure of the project, then you go to this partial key decision makers, which have to give you the main inputs and especially the filters there. So I'd say in that case, at least 15 people provide inputs.
You need to speak to the microphone.
And also students, we sent forms to, and we participated in a class here at Nova with the lab to try to obtain also external feedback from people that were not directly involved, students from Nova and maybe students from Técnico as well, because it's from the engineering. Yes, yes.
So, for the ideas as much as possible, the filters and applying the filters will be the key decision makers, or the more, yeah. Português? Pronto, portanto, basicamente a pergunta era quantas pessoas é que são envolvidas, em português, portanto, basicamente o que se envolve é para as ideias, é o máximo de pessoas possível que vejam que podem dar inputs, não é necessariamente ligado à estrutura de decisão ou qualquer coisa, mas para a parte dos filtros, principalmente para a aplicação dos filtros, aí têm que ser os key decision makers, as pessoas que tomam as decisões que fazem isso. Neste projeto, que era um projeto bastante grande, foram cerca de 15, 20 pessoas, não sei, à volta disso.